First thing first, Tove, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's been a very good week. We've been into like, we started in, I came just back from LA, I was at Coachella and then repacked and went to Berlin and then London and now here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, before we talk about the music, I'd like to go back a little bit. When you were younger, you wrote poetry. What inspired you to do this?
I was, wait, sorry guys, can you just keep it down a little bit? I can't focus, thanks. Sorry, I'm really easily distracted. Well, I don't really know, I've always just kind of had a really wild imagination, I think. And so when I was a kid, I played a lot on my own. I had friends, but I liked to play by myself. And then I usually just come up with these like, you know, stories that would like act out on my own. And then that kind of started turning into me kind of writing things down. And then that, you know, I guess it was kind of like, it was probably like song lyrics that I didn't know that I, you know, loved to sing and could sing. So I just like kind of, it was like rhyming, you know, poetry. So I was like, spent a lot of time just trying to tell stories like that and kind of, yeah, just get some of my imagination out somewhere else besides just playing.
What type of stories would these be? I know you were quite young.
Yeah, I was quite young, but it was like, they were pretty dark. It was a lot about like, it was a lot about like murder and like me, like not the poetry, but at first when I started, like just the stories I wrote and the stuff I like acted out was always like me solving some sort of murder or like saving somebody from something. And I think that then in my poetry was always, you know, kind of, it was like, you know, fairies, you know, saving, like it was always about some sort of like fantasy animal, like, I don't know. The world was always a dark place and then someone came in and like kind of saved
Now looking
everybody.
back, do you know why it was all dark?
No, I don't. I just knew that, oh, ever since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated and been like very interested in stuff that's like, that's dark and twisted, I guess. And I guess I was like, at least how I grew up was very much like you don't talk about the bad stuff at all. So it was very much like keeping everything shiny and happy and pretty. And I mean, I grew up in a very safe neighborhood, like kind of a posh family, I guess. And it was like very, no, it was, everything was just white and shiny and perfect. And I thought that was a little strange, I guess. And I was always very fascinated by things that weren't. So I guess that's kind of stuck with me my whole life.
When did the music then come in?
It was later on. I mean, I did start singing at, you know, I was always like trying to get attention and like I loved to act and sing and paint and all that stuff when I was a kid, but I kind of, it wasn't until like I was like 14, 15 that I started really getting into singing because I had a few friends of mine that were, one girl that was just like an amazing singer who went to this music high school that I then went to as well. She kind of introduced me to that school, and another girl who was in a pop group called Play that was like, I think they opened for Destiny's Child here in Europe. Like they were really like, they were teen pop stars, and then they were like on the, you know, kind of about to break, and then one of the girls quit, so it kind of ended. But at least one of those girls were a really good friend of mine, and she was very encouraging, like you should sing more, and you know, come to the studio with us and check it out. And I think that's how I like got interested in it. And then I applied to this music high school that's in Stockholm. That's very, it's not classical at all. It's like we studied like pop, rock, blues, jazz, that kind of world. So it was really like very fun. It was like we got to play the songs we actually liked to listen to and, you know, learn all these different genres. And so I got in and went there for 3 years. And when I did that, I was like, okay, there's nothing else I want to do with my life. It's all going to be music.
Were you writing songs when you entered the school?
Not really. I mean, I tried. I think I wrote some lyrics, but I didn't do anything with it. I don't think I was confident enough. Because when I started, I wasn't a very good singer when I started. I can sing, but I don't think I can deliver a lot of emotion. But I don't know if it's like, that's not my strongest thing, if you know what I mean. So I was like pretty insecure at the first year. I was very like, just watched everybody, just because I remember we used to have these like lunch concerts where the singers would go and ask the musicians like, hey, I'm going to play this song, and then you would yourself have to go and ask everybody like who's gonna perform with you. And when I listened to a song back then, I couldn't tell what instruments were in the song because I had no idea about anything with music because I've never studied it, or like no one in my family is musical or anything. So when I like was gonna do like the first 6 months in school when I was gonna do concerts, I only played acoustic, like because I was like, oh, ask the guitar player, can you play this song with me? I'm gonna do it acoustic because I was too like afraid to ask anybody else because I didn't know what instruments were in the song, so I was really lost. Oh, thank you so much. And then yeah, I guess I was just, but I did write a lot of lyrics, and the more, I mean, I got a lot better and I developed a lot in those 3 years. So especially confidence-wise, it was like, which was probably the main thing that changed. But it wasn't until like after when I started to sing in like my first band that I got a little bit more into like, hey, I have some ideas, do you want to hear them? And it took me a long time to actually start writing fully on my own, to be confident enough to do it.
When you came, in the beginning, when you came up with these initial ideas, would you go back to what you wrote before, those dark things? Do you still have those?
Yeah, I mean, I've used a lot of it, like a lot of it, like the early stuff I did. A lot of those melodies I've tried to sing over maybe a different chords, or when I'm writing with someone, and which has been really fun to have those, like just a big pile of these ideas and lyrics that never were I never got anywhere with. And then now that I really feel like I know what I'm doing and I trust myself as a songwriter, I can actually be like, hey, that was actually good, I'm going to bring that back in. So yeah, there's been a lot of like things that I've added to songs that was from back in the day.
Was there a turning point for you where this confidence kind of would be there?
I guess
maybe a song, or
yeah, I think for me, like when I got signed as a songwriter to Warner Chappell in 2012, like winter 2012, and when that happened, I think my confidence was like, oh, I can actually do this. And then at the same time, shit, I've come nowhere, because then you suddenly, the competition is so much harder. You see all these big writers and you're like, oh, how do I get there? And how do I get an artist to actually trust me and like my songs, But I think that it was probably when I got my first cut with an artist. That's when I started to like, okay, I can actually do this. So I think it was Icona Pop who were the first band that, it was Girls Aloud that I had like my first song with. And when that started to happen, that's when you start to feel a bit more like, okay, I actually know how to do this. Because you don't want to judge it that way, but it's like, it's kind of proof of that your hard work is paying off, if you know what I mean. So that did mean a lot to me. But it's such a weird business, because it all depends on who you have around you. And like some people bring out a really good writer in me, and some people bring out a terrible writer in me. So it's not like, it all depends on like the chemistry you have in the room. Or that's why, I don't know, I like to work a lot. I work a lot more alone now. Like maybe I get tracks from someone, but I'd rather write by myself first, to kind of get out all the ideas that I have, and then see what they think about it. Because when you're sitting in your like creative zone and you're like, wait, I just want to, and then you have someone going like, I don't know, you know what, maybe not, I don't think that's good. And you're like, wait, I'm still trying things out here. You kind of have to, if you're sensitive to other people's energies, it's like, yeah, you need some space to get that out first. Yeah. Sorry, tell me if I'm like always just losing. I will just keep going. So
No,
I talk a lot.
No, that's good.